Hey there, and welcome to GamePoints episode 98, our weekly little get-together. We talk about the past week of gaming news. I am, as always, your host, Stephen Brown, and join me today is...
I'm David, and I'm still surprised that we're almost at 100 of these damn things.
Yeah, if you're thinking that we're going to do something special for 100, by the way, we're not.
I'm going to have slightly more drinks than normal.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Tonight on the docket, we're going to talk about the disaster that was Pokemon Go Fest. We have some BioWare news I want to discuss. NPD numbers for last month came out. I think they're kind of interesting to go over. But first, I want to do two things out the gate, both kind of related to each other. One, I want to thank everyone that watched us on YouTube last week. It was by far our most popular video that we have ever done. I want to thank Jonathan Holmes for responding to our questions. I want to thank just everyone in general. I want to thank that I want to find this person's name real quick because he shared us on the Lawful Masses Discord. That's Leonard French's YouTube channel and got us popular there. Shay Marin. You can find him on Twitter at Jedi Private Eye. He shared us on the Lawful Masses Discord, which got us even more recognition there. Thanks to both of you. It's a very delicate situation with what's going on there. And I was hoping that we could talk about it in a somewhat respectful manner, and that seems to be what people got away from that. So once again, thanks for tuning in and watching that and leaving comments and likes or dislikes and all that good stuff behind. While on that topic, one bit of news has developed from the issues going on related to that story. I don't want to rehash everything, but just know that Star Mazer DSP is back up. It is currently for sale again on Steam. Keep in mind it is currently in early access as well, so it's not a full game yet, but it is still quite entertaining. You haven't gotten hold of it. And River City Ransom Underground, while I believe still down, has released a statement saying they're just going to replace all the music. They feel that they're in the right, but it's just cheaper to scrap the soundtrack and put a new one in than it is to fight it. Totally understandable. Until we get more information about the lawsuit going through between the defendant and, well, everyone else, this is a back burner story at this point. Now, I know I've said that a couple times already, but I think this is going to be the last we discuss that particular story. Once again,
As we've attempted to for the last 3 weeks,
yeah.
we're going to try not to bring it up until we have a result from litigation topic.
Exactly.
As it is, it seems like every time we talk about it and we start saying names, somehow horrible things happen again in the media, and everyone gets dragged right back into it. Tensions get really high, people get really angry, and the show is kind of tired of talking about death threats. So, with that in mind, the games are coming back. We have Star Mazer back now, River City to come soon enough. And for right this very second, the internet can take a collective sigh of relief.
For now, I will give this one bit of warning out right now. If you're a YouTuber whose channels have any kind of or had any kind of footage of Star Mazer or River City Ransom or were the victim of these DMCA strikes, if you took them down, keep them down for right now because the lawsuit is not resolved. Putting them back up can open you up to strikes on the same videos again, which can imperil your channel. So be warned, be aware. Good luck and Godspeed.
Mm-hmm.
But enough of that. David, why don't you go ahead and
Yes.
lead us off with our first story of the week?
Okay, so this is hilarious. So let's all flash back to about a year ago when everybody, literally everyone, including your mother, was still playing Pokemon Go. That shit came out. It took over the world. Pokemon Go fever was a thing. And something we didn't talk about a lot, well, I'm sure we did then, was just how bad it actually was. How many crashes, how many disconnects, how many issues. That the game had a lot of problems when it first launched, probably because there was millions and millions of people.
Yeah,
But
it
as
wasn't a
time
good game, but it was a popular game.
correct. But as time went on, the servers got a bit more stable. Niantic kind of got their shit together. They figured out it was a popular game. They really worked on their infrastructure. And I think as popularity waned, it got easier for them to control it. Now, this last weekend in Chicago, the first Pokemon Go Fest happened. It had 20,000 people descending on a park in Chicago, and they found out very quickly that apparently, even though they've had it for a year, they still don't know how the fuck to run a server, as the game crashed and burned, leaving a basic angry mob of very, very upset players. So in a story via bbc.com, this is where we get this, there's also a pretty great YouTube video you should take a look at. We'll probably have it down in the description below on our YouTube channel. It was a train wreck. People weren't able to log into the game. People weren't able to play. They had all these different challenges and events that they wanted to get their players involved in. No one could even get in the damn game, much less play it if they're in. But the show kept going as if nothing was wrong for far longer than it should have, with presenters just going through the motions, playing YouTube videos. They had a live DJ. And anytime they asked for crowd feedback, they were just met with a wave of boos, people shouting, "We can't play," people shouting, "Fix the game," and various other colorful things, as you imagine angry crowds would shout.
And I feel sorry for those guys, by the way, because a lot of the people who were standing up there, in fact, let me pull this article just a little bit higher, like this presenter here that you can see in the picture. It's not like she can do anything about it. She is paid to go up there and sell the game to you guys, and everyone is just pissed off.
These people are just presenters. Yeah. But that's what's going to happen. If your product's broken, you have someone currently standing on a stage representing your product, they're going to get flagged. That's just how it's going to be. Now, the result of this is, okay, well, I'll just get into a quote from BBC. So as many as 20,000 attendees at a Pokemon Go festival in Chicago are now being offered refunds after technical glitches meant fans were mostly unable to catch anything, let alone them all. That was a good quote, BBC. At this point, fans will also be offered $100 in the form of the app's in-game currency, Pokecoins, as well as refunds to the event itself. Now, the fun thing is the tickets to the event were only $25, but tickets sold out in about 10 minutes, and a lot of people bought tickets resold from scalpers and spent 4, 6, 8, 10 times face value, which, I mean, I get, yes, that's your fault, but hey, if you sell your tickets in such a way that scalpers can buy them all, that's still kind of your fault. Yeah. So I don't actually agree with that necessarily.
And that's also not considering the fact. Go ahead. I think you're about to touch on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that doesn't count travel time. People flew in from all over the place, not just like Michigan and surrounding states, but literally everywhere.
Like Japan, Germany, overseas flights to this thing.
International travel to Chicago for something that was basically broken. There was a bunch of tweets about it. People were tweeting how the game was just broken. Getting into the event itself was a 3-hour line just to get into the gates. So just the servers being down wasn't the only bad part. They then extended the range of the event because basically in the park where they were managing everything had a bunch of rare spawns and all kinds of fun, neat things to do. They actually expanded the range for, I think, like a mile or 2 miles from the park so that people in the surrounding area could do it because no one could actually get into play, much less play in general. So it was a clusterfuck. And hopefully Niantic, well, I guess, gets their shit together before they have another one of these things.
If you want to see the video that Dave mentioned earlier, it's from a YouTuber by the name of Bob Vids. The title is Pokemon Go Fest Stream Supercut - Savagely Seasoned Cringe. There will be a link down below. Let me go ahead and link this in the chat on Twitch as well so people can take a look at it. It is roughly 9 minutes of just fucking horrible moments from this. If you like watching train wrecks, I highly recommend taking a look at that clip.
It's so great.
It's bad. They fucked up. The CEO of Niantic, a fellow by the name of John Hankey, more or less threw himself on the mercy of the crowd, but god damn, this is so bad. And here's what's really sad about this. If Pokemon Go Fest was a success, you wouldn't have heard a thing about it. Because Pokemon Go, while still popular amongst its hardcore crowd, really isn't being reported on much anymore. There's not too much pizzazz here. A lot of the public has passed it by. Which means
the gameplay itself was very stagnant.
Yeah.
So,
which means the only way it's going to get brought up in the news these days is through negative, horrible shit. And it just all starts compounding on each other. So when was the last time you heard anything about Pokemon Go? As far as like
when
news
they
stories
released
goes?
When they released like the Gen 2 Pokemon, I think in like December or January, I don't even know when that was.
And they had a troubled rollout with that.
Of course they did. They have trouble rollout with everything. But here's the big thing. You have this big, giant 20,000 person Pokemon Go Fest in Chicago that you're hoping is going to be a slam dunk, that everybody loves your games. You know what I guarantee is not happening after that weekend? No new players are downloading Pokemon to find out what it's about. Because
Possibly.
hearing something like this, I mean, why would you?
So the more I
A
think about
giant
it,
news story about a broken game, I feel, isn't the best publicity.
yeah. So the more I think about this, this could be another one of those cases where we're just too close to the forest to see for trees. What I mean by that is, we research these stories, research and scare quotes. We go through and try to gather information for the week, so we are well versed in all the controversies that go on with this. As far as the general public, though, who are fans of Pokemon Go, I don't even know if they knew a Pokemon Go Fest was going on. All they might have heard was, hey, there's new legendary Pokemon, come play them. So it remains to be seen if this is really going to hurt Niantic or not, but we'll see. Okay, chat. I'm not going to repeat that, but I actually laughed at that. That's pretty goddamn funny. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, Niantic seems to be handling it well. They offered refunds, offering currency. It's not like they can reimburse people who flew out there. I think they're making good on the legendary thing and they're just going, hey, everyone who showed up gets this legendary for free. Good on them, but man, every time I hear a story about Pokemon Go, it's not about the game being good or fun. It's about how fucked up it is.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a train wreck. That's what I already said, man. I don't really want to talk about Pokemon Go anymore. Let's talk about BioWare.
All right, from one train wreck to another. This is both, depending on how you look at it, good news and bad news. The first part of the story is Casey Hudson is now back at BioWare. Casey Hudson left the company 3 years ago. He's now returned as general manager of BioWare. His previous role was product director for Mass Effect 1 through 3, as well as Knights of the Old Republic. In a blog post, as you saw, I kind of spaced out there. In a blog post here from BioWare's official blog by Casey Hudson coming home, it says, almost 20 years ago, I decided to apply for a job, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, he's back as general manager. That means the head of all BioWare. Now, if he was taking over, what does that mean for the person who was there? Well, Aaron Flynn's out.
Aaron.
Yeah. Aaron Flynn is leaving, stating, quote, I have been contemplating changes in my own life for some time, but when I heard that Casey had confirmed he was up for the task, I realized the opportunity is before us. I'll be working with him over the next couple of weeks to help catch him up and do my part to set him up for success to be the best GM he can be. So, Aaron Flynn's been with BioWare for a long time, too. And if you don't think that this changing of staff isn't directly related to Mass Effect Andromeda, then I guess the only thing I can say is open up your eyes and see the writing on the wall. This is clearly a response to how poorly Andromeda was received, and I don't think it sells it too well either. I couldn't say for certain.
I don't think so. I think you're wrong. I think the guy that's been there for 20 some odd years, and it's been his entire career for the longest time to work specifically for BioWare, just now's the time to go. And the guy that tried to get out of there 3 years ago is suddenly coming back because he's done soul searching.
Yeah, well,
like it just doesn't. It sounds ridiculous.
Yeah. Let me. In fact, I'm going to read that Aaron Flynn statement again. I have been contemplating changes in my own life for some time, but when I heard that Casey had confirmed he was up for the task, I realized the opportunities before us. Heard that Casey had confirmed he was up for the task. That means someone reached out to him and asked.
Hey, Casey, do you want to be GM of BioWare? Oh, what's Aaron doing? Oh, well, he's leaving, so the job is open. Wrecked.
I think this is a good move. Casey Hudson, of course, project director of Mass Effect 1 through 3. All great games. You can bitch about the ending of the third one all you want to, and I will agree with you to some extent, but I still think the game was fantastic despite that ending. Knights of the Old Republic, the MMO, which mixed success. We'll see. But yeah, this is clearly because of Mass Effect Andromeda's blowback. One thing I want to stress here, in both the blog posts, both for Casey Hudson and Aaron Flynn, which I will link down below in the YouTube information, neither one of them mentioned Mass Effect at all. They mentioned the stuff they used to work on, Knights of the Old Republic, Jade Empire, Neverwinter Nights, but Mass Effect, arguably BioWare's biggest franchise, right, current biggest franchise, not even name dropped. they are desperately trying to keep that name just buried for a couple years, and then they'll revive it in some way, shape, or form. But right now, BioWare doesn't even want to mention Mass and Effect together in the same sentence.
Yeah, it makes sense. That game did poorly. It shipped with bugs. People got really, really mad at it. So throwing it under the rug for a little while is probably the safest bet they can make.
Yeah, it sucks that such a franchise like that I personally love. It's one of my favorite video game franchises. Has just this hurts. This is Dead Space 3 all over again.
Womp womp.
Anyways, we'll see if anything shakes out as far as if Anthem goes. I don't think that's going to change too much from what I tell the BioWare old bloods back on that. I think Drew Karpshin came back to BioWare to start working on it. I'm not positive on that. Casey Hudson, of course, coming back is, in my opinion, a good thing. We'll see how this affects Anthem and what has to be the next Dragon Age. I have to imagine that they're working on that too. Anyways, next topic.
They're not.
No, you don't think they are? You think it's all hands on deck on Anthem right now?
Yeah, I think they're really shooting for a win right now. So they're going to put a lot of focus into Anthem, and they can visit Mass Effect after that game launched, and they have a smaller team working on DLC and whatever.
Well, Mass Effect's gone for at least 6 years, if not 10.
That's why I'm saying they have no reason to work on it right now.
I talk about Dragon Age though.
Oh well, I don't think they're going to do that either.
Dragon Age Inquisition was a nice shot in the arm for that franchise. I think they're going to turn a little bit harder on that. I think they're going to double down on making Dragon Age, whatever the next one will be, really good. Assuming that they are making the next one, I can't see them not working on that currently right now.
I just don't see another one coming out for probably 2 years after Anthem, and I feel like that would give them an amount of time to work on it.
When's Anthem due? Next
year?
That's
the question. Late next year, possibly.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and start us off on our next story while I look that up?
All right. Well, let's talk about TellTale Games and the fact that they are still doing stuff that makes a lot of people excited, as long as that person isn't me. No, I can't be mad. TellTale Games puts a solid game together. Just that one game that looks slightly different every time.
Their engine's fucking shit. And Anthem comes out fourth quarter 2018. So in reality, halfway through 2019.
Okay. Anyway, TellTale Games had a whole bunch of stuff revealed. They had a blog post on their website. They also had a little YouTube sizzle reel trailer. August 8th is going to be when the next season of the Batman series is going to hit, dubbed The Enemy Within. It had a little trailer. It looks pretty cool. What was that guy's name? The voice actor for Bruce Wayne is coming back.
Troy Baker.
Thank you very much. Also coming out in 2018 will be the fourth and final season for the Walking Dead series of TellTale Games. And in the second half of 2018, they're actually finally going to make The Wolf Among Us 2. Of the TellTale Games, The Wolf Among Us is actually the one that I think is super interesting. I like the fantasy twist of fairy tales just being dudes hanging out in a bar, and the shenanigans that gets into fairy tale people in
That's
real
a problem
life
for a podcast, David.
That's not my job. That's your job. I just look pretty, drink a lot.
So let's break this down title at a time. The first one, like you said, August 8th, Batman Season 2, called The Enemy Within. If you haven't played Telltale's Batman game before and you're a fan of Batman, I highly recommend taking a look at this one, because that game twists everything you know about Batman completely on its head. It fucks with motivations of characters. If you're a purist, you're gonna hate it. But if you're looking for an interesting take on the Batman tale that hasn't been told, thus the name of the company, TellTale, I guess, I highly recommend taking a look at Season 1. It is one of their better games. Still runs on that busted-ass engine they keep using, though. In fact, it had multiple crashes on the 5th episode, which is supposed to be their big climax episode, which really fucking sucked. TellTale, fix your goddamn engine. But the game itself, the story itself, was very intriguing. If you're a Batman fan, I highly recommend taking a look at it. The next one, The Walking Dead. David, have you played any of the Walking Dead games?
I played some of the first one.
Okay. That is a franchise that needs to go away. First one was great. The second one was The third one I was just bored with. So I'm glad that they're wrapping this up. I feel that it should have ended after 2. If they would, in fact, I think 2 ends in such a way that would have been a satisfactory conclusion. So
okay, that's me in the TV show.
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of with you there too, unfortunately. But I'm glad that they are finishing it up, and I'm curious to see how they're going to send off Clementine. As for the third game, The Wolf Among Us 2, based off the comic Fables, decent comic. Recommend reading it. It's, like you were saying, fairy tale critters living in modern day. The Wolf Among Us was surprisingly good, and I think a lot of people who are fans of the comic missed it because they can't use the name Fables for a video game. Because of Microsoft. Microsoft owns that trademark, Fable. But it is essentially a modern-day film noir with fairy tale characters, and the big bad wolf is your hard-boiled detective kind of archetype. So if you're looking for a murder mystery with fantasy fairy tale characters, I recommend taking a look at it. And of the 3 games on there, I am in agreement. This is probably the most intriguing of them all.
Yes. Obviously, I agree because I said it first. Well, if you're not into TellTale, what are people into?
Before we go on, what TellTale games have you played, David?
I've not beaten any of them. Does that help?
It helped me get a drink to kill time while you talked.
A touch of Walking Dead, a touch of The Wolf, a touch of... Actually, I think I watched some of Borderlands, and that's about it.
So if you were to get your TellTale introductory pack, I would say get the first season of Walking Dead, Tales from the Borderlands, which even if you're not a Borderlands fan, was an amazing game. The Wolf Among Us.
What I'm saying is, if TellTale just wrote books, I'd probably read the books or graphic novels.
Yeah, I mean, let's play these fucking things, right? Go find a polished streamer who has cut out all the glitches and watch that video.
Yeah, if they built a new engine and made it so it was interesting and didn't have the same exact scheme that the first Walking Dead did, which was cool when it came out. I get that. It's way the fuck later, and I don't need that in my life.
Right. But yeah,
it's quick time events all over again.
It is, and as more time goes on, I am less accepting of that engine and the problems that it has and the glitches that it has. Your storytelling aside, TellTale storytelling is fantastic. As far as the game goes, it is rapidly showing its age.
It's just not that fun.
No, it's
I'm here for fun.
Well, let's talk about something fun then. Let's talk about Dying Light.
Dude, I do like Dying Light. That game is fun. Remember when they added cars all of a sudden? That was pretty rad.
And they had like a couple expansion packs. That's a company that it's a game Techland keeps supporting, and apparently with good reason. Recent reports from them say that they have 50,000 people playing it per week.
Whoa, way low.
Yeah,
500,000 people still play Dying Light on a weekly basis.
I left a 0 off on my notes here because I'm an idiot.
You are an idiot. That we're in agreement about.
That is a shit ton of people playing a game that's at least 2 years old. Additionally, Techland is still supporting the game, and they have these 10 bits of DLC coming, or is it 12 bits? 10 free pieces of DLC coming out of the next year, and the first one should be dropping soon, which you can see up here.
Yeah, over the next year, Techland is still releasing DLC for Dying Light. Bigger than that, it's free DLC. So if you haven't played Dying Light yet, it's what Dead Island should have been.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, honestly, it's a better playing version of Dead Island.
And that game is truly terrifying when the sun sets.
Oh yeah, when the darkness comes and all the spooky shit comes out of nowhere, and you're just running for your life. That is some great gameplay.
Yeah, because you really can't fight any of that crap.
4-player co-op is a big thing.
Yeah.
And you can kind of drop in and drop out, which is pretty fantastic. They had that big DLC recently that added a whole new area, vehicles, a whole bunch of new quests, and yeah, for the next year, more and more DLC, weapons, story-driven quests, locations, gameplay mechanics, enemies, all kinds of stuff. They're anything you could think of. They actually don't have set in stone plans for the next 10 DLCs. The big thing they mentioned is that they have a good idea of what the first one's going to be, but they're kind of playing it by ear, and they do still want player feedback. So if you are a hardcore Dying Light player, you should probably hop into their forums and tell them what you want to see, because if enough of you say it, you might get it.
I like stuff like this that Techland's doing with Dying Light, that CD Projekt Red's done with The Witcher, where they keep building onto their game and keep adding shit in without charging anything extra to it. And there is a benefit to it. Now, a lot of people like EA or Actors should go, well, if we can't make money off something, then why should we do it? Well, let me tell you why you should do it. Because 2 years down the road, 500,000 people are still fucking playing Dying Light a week. Still talking about it. Little percent shows like this do coverage on it. And then 1 or 2 people go, I should go buy Dying Light.
Yeah.
So I'd be very interested to see the marketing
later.
tail on these games. To see how they keep selling.
Hey, if you release free content, people get excited.
Yeah. Well, depends on your definition of free and how good your content is.
I was actually just going to say, I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 is still going, and they technically have a bunch of free content, which is just new items they add to the game that cost millions and millions and millions of in-game dollars so that they can sell extra shark cards, but that's a different business model that we don't need to get into right this second.
Anyways, sorry, I'm being distracted. I hear my cat screaming through my door, so it's somewhat distracting a little bit.
That's a weird problem.
Yeah, it is. David, why don't you go ahead and lead us off on our next topic here?
Okay, so let's talk about the fact that Nintendo is still the worst fucking company at the internet. How long has it been since Xbox Live came out? Answer me that question.
2002, I think.
So we're looking at 15 years. At any point in the last 15 years, Nintendo could have looked at Microsoft or Sony or literally anyone else that has an online service and said, let's do at least some of that. Instead, they continue to operate under the premise that people have no idea what the fuck the internet is or is for and release stupid, horrible bullshit, thus bringing us to the Nintendo Switch voice app. In an article by Eurogamer, right now, Splatoon 2 is out for the Nintendo Switch, and it is the first and only game to support Nintendo's new voice app, and it is hot garbage.
It is bad. It is terrible.
Here's how you go about setting up a room for you and your friends. First, you need to head to the online lounge Splatoon 2's multiplayer area. From there, you're going to be prompted to create a room, and you can push a notification out to your phone. It's on your phone, and only your phone, and you can push, and then you can invite friends into the room. So, unlike with Skype or Discord or any other voice chat app, if at any point you close the app on your phone, which that one makes sense, but if you open a different app, if you turn your screen off, you lose the ability to talk to your friends. So your phone has to be on and in the app the entire time you're playing Splatoon in order for you to keep a voice chat button, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's fucking horrible.
It's horrible. And that doesn't even bring into the fact how many wires and cables and shit you need so that you can somehow hear your friends talking and also your gameplay. Because guess what? You can't just have 2 headphones on your head. You need some kind of stupid-ass adapter or your sound coming out of your Switch while you're talking to your friends on your phone. When, like, every other company's figured this out forever ago.
Yeah,
Microsoft just has chat built in. Hey, let's make a party. Let's talk to each other. Even Sony, who had arguably much worse voice chat out of the box, has kind of figured that shit out at this point. And I
want to say Dreamcast had this shit down.
Dude, I talked to people on Phantasy Star.
It's
even that complicated.
So fucking ridiculous. There are 2 things that are fucking ridiculous. One, how can they fuck this up when you have things like Discord for free?
Yeah, Discord and Skype are free. They can both be installed on your cell phone. They both will work better than this stupid bullshit.
And 2, Nintendo's going to start charging for this shit at the end of the year.
What gives them the gall to charge for something that entry-level developers can shit out better versions of?
It's fucking really... I mean, how many times do I have to go back to the Nintendo rant about how they don't fucking care about online multiplayer at all? Like, they're just stuck in the fucking past.
We've talked about this, and I've been mad at Nintendo, I think, arguably more than you on this show. And they just don't give a fuck about their customers. They really don't. And while I understand that they are a business and they have no responsibility to give a fuck about their customers and they only have to care about the bottom line, they can at least fucking pretend like other companies do. They could release viable products or things that are useful. I get that the Switch is fucking awesome and people really love it, but just because you have a big win every once in a while doesn't mean you have to keep just shitting on everything else when you could just do a tiny amount of work and have viable products.
Or, Nintendo, actually have products to sell when it comes to things like NES and Super Nintendo Classic.
Well, we can get into that fact with the Super Nintendo pre-orders going up on Walmart on Friday. A whole bunch of people try to pick that up. And then come to find out over the weekend, oh, sorry, we did that on accident. So now they're canceling pre-orders like crazy and sending people refunds. They're telling people their cards don't work and all this other shit. And it's all in anticipation for a product that a bunch of people are going to want, that Nintendo is not going to make enough of, that's going to be almost impossible to find, that you can buy on eBay or whatever reseller site for probably $600 after it's released. And it's only going to be there till the end of the year. Fuck it. God damn it, Nintendo.
I can almost make a moral case why it's fine to actually emulate their shit now.
Oh, yeah.
Because they just refuse to sell it.
It's easier. Because you can actually play those games if you emulate them.
Yeah, as opposed to, well, I'm not going to spend $700 for scalper prices to fucking play.
I own Super Mario RPG on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I have the cartridge. I have a Super Nintendo. Guess what? I want to play that on my television. It's a pain in the ass and it looks like shit. If I just put it on my PC with an emulator, hypothetically, I can output it via HDMI and change the resolution. And look, it looks all right. I could play that game.
Yeah, or like the Dolphin, for example, which has fucking 1080 support or 920 support for GameCube games, for fuck's sake. In fact, it can go up all the way to 4K if you have a strong enough computer to do it. The point is, Nintendo, this is free fucking money you're leaving on the table. I know you're making a shit ton right now with the Switch, but come on, these are simple fucking things that you need to figure out. Everyone else knows it. Everyone else knows how to do this. You're fucking behind in every way that you innovate and get ahead of the competition. And the Switch is fucking sounding like Game Busters. It's an actually solid console. There's all this other bullshit we have to deal with that you still haven't figured out.
It's like they already forgot about the Wii U.
Yeah, it's that.
And how just far their stock fell and how shitty they were.
It's that Nintendo hubris. They've
really
always had that Nintendo hubris. And they don't fucking care. They cloak it in things like, oh, well, we want to protect children. Bullshit.
Well, right now their stocks are higher than they have been since 2008. Yeah. Which is huge.
The Switch is doing very well for them.
That they probably could have pulled that around years ago.
Yes, you're saying that they could have had these results a long time ago if they weren't fucking up like they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Paid attention. Or if they had any members of their upper staff take a fucking economics class.
You know what's going to be really annoying is the fact that their shit is selling so well, they think that what we're doing is working, so we're going to keep doing it.
Yep.
And that's just maddening to me. Ugh.
And it's frustrating because the shit they're pumping out is good enough that it's hard for me to say, well, just don't buy Nintendo products.
Right.
Because as much as you vote with your wallets, it's hard to say no. It's.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it looks good.
As gamers, we have Stockholm syndrome when it comes to Nintendo.
Yeah.
It's like,
because we always remember what it used to be like.
Thing, but it used to be nice, and if I just hold on to hope, then things will work out, or I just kind of come to rely on this new Mario game and the new Zelda game, and fucking let's talk about something else.
All right, fair enough. Let's talk about something a little bit more tongue-in-cheek here, and that's the fact that after many, many years of wondering, we finally know who the Doom guy is. Now, this is on John Romero's own personal blog. I think it's a romo.ro, I believe. Yeah, rome.ro. Great domain name, by the way. And John Romero reveals who the identity of the Doom guy is. Now, we've all seen this cover. This is a fucking classic cover. Space Marine shooting down into a crowd of demons coming up on top of him. Well, the story for this has been finally revealed, and the idea behind it. And, I mean, it's pointless. It's a stupid story, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Anyways, let's get into it. Don Punchkatz, the illustrator who created the Doom logo and the famous front box cover art, came to it in the mid-1993 with a male body model. Don brought a nice camera to take the pictures, and the model's job was to strike various poses for the Marine who would be on the cover of the box. The scene took place in the art room where Adrian and Kevin spent their days creating the Start 10 tech-based set and clay modeling characters and digitalize them with the Next Cube workstation. Hospital, blah, 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 blah. Moving on. The body model took his shirt off and started posing with our plasma gun toy. Don asked us for suggestions, and I started telling him that the Marine was going to be attacked by an infinite amount of demons. It would be cool if he was on a hill firing down on them, and the model was holding the gun in various positions, but none of them were interesting to me. He did this for about 10 minutes, and we just didn't see anything that we thought looked cool on the cover, and I kept telling the model what to do, but he couldn't see the scene in his mind. So frustrated, I threw my shirt off, told him to give me the gun and get on the floor, grabbed my arm as one of the demons. He deferred, and I aimed the gun in slightly different directions and said, "This is what I'm talking about." Don then took several pictures, I moved the gun some, the demon grabbed my leg, the other arm, etc., and at the end, we decided the arm grabbing approach was the best. So, long story short, that guy you see on the cover is John Romero.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, interesting, stupid little story. Phoenix 100K in chat, going back to the Nintendo topic, is saying they can have that hubris because they know their fans will unconditionally buy the new console regardless. Yes, to a degree.
Well, he also called it the fact that Nintendo is the Apple of video game companies.
Yeah, also a good point. This is true to a degree because until the Switch, or until the Wii U rather, the Super Nintendo didn't sell as much as Nintendo. 64 didn't sell as much as Super Nintendo. GameCube didn't sell as much as 64. They were going down. The Wii came out, spiked their numbers. The Wii U came out, Virtual Boy territory. And now the Switch is out. So you can piss people off to start bleeding off your fan base. But enough of Nintendo. We're on the Doom topic, which leads us to the second story relating to Doom. David?
Doom has unlocked all the DLC. So there was a free weekend on Steam, and during that free weekend, they revealed the brand new update 6.66, which is probably a good update for Doom fans. And yeah, right now all the Doom DLC is unlocked for free. It also revamped the game's progression, adds several bug fixes and improvements. But the big thing is this is kind of awesome because if you pick up Doom right now, you will have all of the DLC, or if you already have it, there you go. Our question, though, really is, how did season pass holders feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, these are guys who paid for all that shit separately, and now it's free. Ultimately, I think stuff like this is a good thing. Going back to the Techland Dying Light story, I love the fact that DLC is just getting out for free. I hate anything that fragments online communities. I think it's the death knell for them. And honestly, Doom's been out for at least a year. I think it came out around this time last year, or if not earlier. It could have been. I don't remember when Doom came out actually. I think it's been out for a year. Either way, if you bought a season pass, I mean, things get cheaper over time, man. I can't sell my copy of Doom that's been for $60 on for $60 still today. So stuff gets cheaper. I would say if you're really upset about having a season pass, let this be a lesson and don't buy season passes.
Yeah, we don't need those.
No, not at all.
I would be happy to see those go away.
Yeah, Phoenix. And to
be fair, when's the last time DLC came out for Doom? It's been a little while, right?
Well, I mean, all this stuff. I want to say they actually added a bunch of.
I mean, like an actual full standalone season pass DLC.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I don't know about anything that was included in season pass. I think they've run out on that.
That's what I'm saying. Is if everything that was planned for the season pass came out a while ago, like quite a while ago, then this, I feel like it would sting less.
So the thing about the Doom DLC and the season pass is I didn't give two fucks about it because I did not play Doom's multiplayer at all. I could have cared less about it, and the season pass was all about multiplayer. That fucking campaign, though, is goddamn amazing, and I was really upset that there was no extra expansion content for the main campaign itself. If you haven't played Doom,
they can make Doom too.
Yeah, if you haven't played Doom, fucking buy Doom and play through it. It is possibly one of the greatest single-player first-person campaigns I have ever gotten a hold of, and there's really no. It's not like Call of Duty with its big set pieces or anything like that. All the storytelling's environmental. But that game, and I've said it before, made me legitimately angry in the best way possible. Like, I felt like a fucking avatar of rage and vengeance ripping through those levels.
That's fair. Put some bold-ass shit, though, because for a second there you forgot that the Half-Life franchise existed.
Dude, Half-Life's fun. It's amazing. But as far as like pure like making your adrenaline pump that it's got nothing on Doom. I'm telling you right now, if you haven't played it, you need to play it.
Dude, but what about in the first game when the helicopter shows up that first time?
From the outside and drops the sexy female ninja cyborgs off at you.
Yeah.
Man, that was a good game.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
All right, next.
I mean, we had 17 years to stew on Half-Life before they got that.
Yeah. Next story. While we're on the topic of oddly placed sexy women, let's talk about this fucking Shelob controversy in Lord of the Rings. Shadow of War.
Get Shelob. So,
Shelob, for those who play, who know Lord of the Rings lore, is a giant spider. Well, in the new Shadow of Mordor game, she is a sexy female elf avatar who is supposed to be guiding Talion against his war on Sauron. Now, needless to say, people who are Lord of the Rings fans are kind of pissed off, because why is a giant demi spider suddenly just hot chick hanging out in a bunch of webs? Well,
that makes sense.
Because tits sell. Let's be totally honest.
No. I'm pretty sure if you go in between the pages of the Silmarillion, it definitely talks about the fact that she's a pro. I don't know. Fuck. Why not?
I thought you were actually serious, because I don't know shit about the Silmarillion, and the Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor games actually draw a lot from those books. So I thought there was an actual reason for it. Either way, the internet is a ball of rage, as it tends to be over this, saying that Lord of the Rings Shadow of War is now officially fan fiction, and bad fan fiction at that. To which I must respond, did you not fucking play the first game? Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor is fan fiction. It is highly entertaining fan fiction, and if you thought it was fucking canon, you clearly didn't finish the game, because spoilers, I'll give you a few seconds to mute your microphone or mute your headphones right now. At the end of that fucking game, you build another Ring of Power. You don't get much more fucking Mary Sue than that. You literally create another one ring, making it the 2 ring, or insert whatever the fuck you're talking about here. So if you didn't think it was already fan fiction, I don't know why you're just now waking up to this fact.
You're missing the whole point. The internet's getting mad at this for no reason.
Yes, exactly.
Really means? You know what this really means? If they borrow a page from PC Gamer's favorite RPG called The Witcher, there's a decent chance that you can bang Shelob. Just think of it, man.
So
everybody's always wanted to bang the sexy spider brawn.
Okay, so Disco Keen out in chat says she does not change the universe. I'm not too sure how. Admittedly, like I said out the gate, I did not read much from the Silmarillion, and I actually haven't read any of the books. My knowledge of Lord of the Rings comes from the movies. I'm just telling you secondhand what people are pissed off about. 2, if Shelob came up to me, and I don't care what form she was in, spider or chick, and said, "You're going to fuck me," I would have to say yes, because I would be too terrified to say no. It would be a fear action. You would have to sleep with the spider to survive.
What if she eats your head after that?
Well, she's going to eat my head anyways, right? At least this way.
Some trophy fuck.
Not even a trophy fuck. I would just be terrified to tell her no to anything. Some giant fucking spider that could talk to me comes through my door and says, "Do something." Guess what I'm doing? Whatever the fuck the giant spider that crashed in my house told me to do.
All right. Taking that cloaca for a ride. Get it.
All right. Anyways, David, why don't you go ahead and talk about our next story?
Well, we can move right along from sexy spiders to sexy zombies. Wait, did I say sexy? I meant Nazi.
Fucking doesn't work. How dare you? It's a bad transition.
I can do whatever I want. Go fuck yourself. Hey, Call of Duty World War II is going to have Nazi zombies because of fucking course it does. Call of Duty is about zombies nowadays, don't you know? I mean, I pretty much said the whole fucking article, but there were some details that came out about the zombie mode in the upcoming Call of Duty World War II. The 4-player co-op mode has been a staple of the series for a really fucking long time, pretty much since Infinity Ward left. right when the game stopped being interesting to me. It takes place in a snowy Bavarian village in Mittelberg, Germany, as they attempt to recover priceless works of art stolen by the Axis powers in WW2. This village holds a shadowy secret key to an unimaginable and monstrous power. You show up in a town, you find some spooky thing, zombies come pouring out of the walls, you kill them with World War II era guns and probably some guest appearance weapons as well. It will be the mode that a lot of people play, that people have fun with, that I see some YouTube videos of, and I still refuse to give a shit about.
They seem to be going back to a more serious tone with this one. Gone are the Nazis in the 80s disco. Gone are the celebrity cameos, from what I can tell. You don't have David Hasselhoff or Peter Stormare acting in it anymore. It's supposed to be scary again, because the first one was actually kind of intense because it was just a zombie horde mechanic. You have your cast here, not cast, but the characters. Don't know who's playing them, if anyone famous is doing it. I don't recognize any of these people. But it seems like they're going for a more grounded zombie experience this time around. That said, considering that you're playing 4 people trying to track down art being stolen by the Germans, I'm really upset that they didn't roll out like George Clooney from Monuments Men and have him as the starring role with Bill Murray. And who else was in that movie? Was Brad Pitt in that movie?
Isn't John Goodman in that movie?
Oh, he could have been. Could you imagine playing John Goodman fighting zombies, though?
Oh my god, dude. That's a standalone game. I'd play 6 to 8 hours of that.
That's just upsetting.
Just John Goodman one-liners while you're just shooting zombies to death, trying to fit through doors.
Anyways, Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies details came out last week. You saw the page on there. Okay, cool. It looks like they're trying to get back to a more grounded, scary version of it. There is a small bit of controversy, if you can call it that, going around in the fact that the Nazi Zombies does not have swastikas anywhere in it. Someone on Twitter said, hey, why aren't there...
I know they're Nazis.
Yeah. Someone on Twitter said that, hey, why aren't there swastikas in here? And one of the developers kind of gave like an asshole answer, essentially saying, so you fucking support white nationalism or some shit? You could look it up. I don't want to get into details of it. I thought it was a classless
The correct response to when someone's calling you out on Twitter is to say, because fuck you. That's
and
why.
just mute them.
Just move on with your life.
You want to know the real reason why?
Also, I have just really quick shout out to Phoenix and Chap. Yes, I am very excited for when the gaming industry's zombie boner finally dies.
That's not going to happen anytime soon.
No, dude, because how else are we going to get Red Dead Redemption 2's zombie horde mode? Because that's going to fucking happen.
Hey, Days Gone looks amazing.
Zombies are a hit.
The real reason why a game takes out swastikas isn't historical revisionism, isn't because they hate Nazis, isn't because they're trying to clamp down on hate. It's none of that mamby-pamby bullshit. The real reason comes down to dollar bill, y'all. A lot of countries, specifically Germany, ban Nazi imagery. If you want to sell a game in Germany, you have to make a version, a World War II game in Germany, you have to make a version of it without swastikas anywhere. That takes time and money to do. Maybe not much, but it does take resources away from other things to create the sanitized, censored version. So while the main game itself might actually keep the swastikas intact and make a different version for Germany, the throwaway bits like fucking World War II Nazi zombies, why waste the time and effort? And I just wish all sides would be fucking honest on it and just say they did it because the money. Because that is why they did it.
Dude, no company is ever going to say that in the history of time.
It would have been far less of a controversial topic then. It would have been like, oh, okay, cool, I get it.
Yeah.
Most
they
of the
said,
time,
hey, in order to release this game fairly and in a good time span in all regions, we've had to remove certain insignias that are not allowable in certain places where we sell.
Yeah, and just be honest.
And everyone goes, huh? And then they Google, and they're like, oh, Germany doesn't like that shit anymore. Because everybody got really mad at them and took all their stuff away.
It's the spin that keeps fucking with these people. With the ad execs, with the business guys. You try to spin and polish a turd, more people see the turd. Just fucking say it like it is, for God's
Literally
sake.
every company just needs to hire that one, like, Wendy's Twitter writer to just do all of their PR.
That one Twitter, you should read up on the Wendy's PR person. I don't think they're the PR person anymore. I think there was this big article about how they get like stocked out of that job. Don't take my word on that. Look it up. Phoenix 100K in chat says he'd rather in My Little Pony mode over zombies at this point. It's been done. Whimsy Shire, Diablo 3.
Well, so fucking zombies. What the fuck is that? Oh, that's happened once in the gaming community, so we can't do it again. Man, we're talking about this thing that constantly happens in the gaming community.
Not saying it can't happen again. I am simply pointing him in a direction to find a My Little Pony mode to play.
Simpsons did it.
Admittedly, my tone was a bit standoffish. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next story here. The NPD numbers for June are out, and they are interesting as far as what's on the top of the list, to say the least. This story comes from GameIndustry.biz. PlayStation 4 and Tekken drive June U.S. game sales, according to the NPD. I'm going to get into some really boring facts and figures here, so just bear with me.
Ah, dude, the NPD numbers really pump my nads.
The NPD Group's report for June shows that total spending on games rose 7% in the U.S., totaling $765 million. While video game software on consoles, both physical and digital, was only up 1% to $343 million, and PC software increased just 2% to $32 million. Hardware is what led the most growth for the industry, yielding a 27% bump to $231 million. Long story short, games, as far as sales, have stagnated. Hardware picked up, probably in account due to the release of the Switch. According to NPD analyst Matt Piscatella, the PlayStation 4 was June's best-selling hardware platform, driven by the slim PS4 system in gold with the 1TB hard drive. It was the best-performing June for the PlayStation Unit 4 sales to date. The fact that it was the PlayStation 4, still commendable, but the reason why it wasn't the Switch is just because supply issues are keeping the Switch from overtaking that. If the Switch flooded the markets, you can guarantee that that would be the biggest selling thing right now. The portable market continues to decline. The NPD says that spending on portable hardware has dropped 40%, which is a big fucking number. When it comes to software, Tekken 7 tops the chart with last month's winner, Injustice 2, in second. Let me go ahead and bring up that chart right here. The top
Let's talk
20...
about the fact that the top 2 selling softwares right this second are fighting games. Thank you very much, Evo.
I don't know if how much impact Evo had to do with it, but it is fucking surprising that Tekken 7 and Injustice 2 are the top 2, and that Injustice 2 was last month's number 1.
Well, to be fair, they're both hella fun.
Let me break down the top 20 games here for you. Tekken 7, Injustice 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, still at number 3.
How are you still here?
Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, ARMS, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Mario Kart 8, Overwatch, NBA 2K17, and Horizon Zero Dawn round out the top 10. It is important to note that ARMS, Legend of Zelda, Mario Kart, and Overwatch all are not counting digital sales, to which if they did, they would probably be significantly higher on the top of that list. Another surprise on here is actually Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands at number 11, which I think is the top-selling game of this year so far, if you take the entire year in consideration. Shocked that game's actually that high up on there. I did not think that game sold all that well, but I was clearly wrong.
Am I supposed to tell you something? I don't know.
But yeah, that's your NPD numbers for June. I'd like to go over them just to kind of give you an idea of how the market's doing, what trends are. Software sales are stagnant. They are not dropping, but they're not really rising all that much. The hardware sales spiked because of the PlayStation 4 Pro. Would have spiked higher if the Switch was actually able to get in stock. And fighting games, for some fucking reason, seem to be having this resurgence in popularity. And if you're not a fighting game fan, but you are a DC fan, look up all the cinematic trailers to Injustice 2 and Injustice 1 while you're at it, because goddamn, that is actually an amazing DC story. Hell
yeah, dude. You can also read Injustice Year 1, which is just a fucking phenomenal set of graphic novels. And then I think there's 4 years total. It gets a little slow, but it all basically bridges. Well, it goes through the entire story of the first game and then leads all the way into the second game. And yeah, the storyline they built for that is pretty rad.
Yeah,
and
the
pretty
Injustice
dark.
comic series is one of the best things DC has done, and Phoenix 100,000, I absolutely agree. Injustice 2 has some of, like, as far as fighting games go, the most amazing single-player campaign. I absolutely agree with you there, Phoenix. While on the topic of comics, David.
Oh, dude, let's talk about the fact that IDW has announced a partnership with Sega to bring Sonic comics to fans new and old. Sonic comic, everybody. This arrives in 2018. IDW has been kind of fucking killing it lately, which I think is the only reason this could be exciting. Did you read their like Ninja Turtles IDW comic that came out recently?
No,
Like,
I read some of their
recently being in the last
Transformers and
couple years?
G.I. Joe stuff.
Anyway, they've been doing very well in the comic space. So a Sonic IP or a Sonic licensed comic actually sounds pretty cool, considering the way IDW takes franchises.
Yeah, they're on
I
fire
don't
with their
think this
fucking
is going to
license
be
IPs.
like in with your Happy Meal McDonald's style Sonic comic. No, I think this is going to be pretty legit.
IDW is at that point where Dark Horse was in the early 90s, where all the attention's kind of on them right now, in my opinion. I'm not a comics expert by any means, but they are fucking killing it. And if you haven't taken a look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers, G.I. Joe, all the other licensed shit they do, I highly recommend it, especially if you like comics. Before we move on to what we can play this week with David here, I do want to address one more thing in chat. Persona 5, I do not believe was on that list. Still probably one of the biggest selling games in that franchise, but at the end of the day, it is an extremely Japanese-focused JRPG that was exclusive to Sony and Sony only. So the idea of it making that list just was not going to happen. David.
Yo.
We're done with the news for the week.
All right, well, let's talk about some stuff that you can actually play now and not stuff you have to wait for. We're going to start it off with Pyre, the newest game from the teams that made Bastion and Transistor. This is a actually unique video game. And what I mean by that is it plays different than most things you play. From what I've read, it's kind of a cross between a single-player version of basketball mixed with a MOBA. It's obviously got a cool narrated story from the same team, like I said, that made Bastion and Transistor, so it's got that kind of aesthetic. But it's a top-down strategy-style game where you basically have a ball in the center of the field. You try and drive it into your opponent's goal, whatever it's called, to put out their fire. And it looks pretty fun. And like I said, from a lot of the reviews I've seen so far, people seem to really like it. And it feels original. It feels like a new game, which I think is probably the biggest praise I can give anything.
Yeah, I've been playing this for the past couple days myself. I'll be doing the review for this over at GameCritics.com. It's from Supergiant, like you mentioned. The art style is very colorful. If you've played Bastion or Transistor, you will immediately recognize a lot of the same tones. Musical score is fantastic. The narrator, spot-on voice acting as comes with those Supergiant games. The gameplay itself, though, man, I'm not feeling it. It is, like you said, it feels like a 3-on-3 basketball, but I'm just playing it, and I don't know. Compared to how awesome Bastion and Transistor were when it came to the actual game mechanics itself, Pyre's not doing it for me. Everything else about the game is great, though. Setting, story, tone, but just something about that gameplay is not grabbing me at all.
Oh, hey, if you're not a guy that hates everything, then maybe give a look.
What a fucking cheap shot.
Hey, Pikmin is also coming out this week for 3DS. It is a mobile version of the Pikmin franchise. Wait, didn't that come out?
No, this is new. It's coming out later this week. It's the side-scroller Pikmin. Not to get on that hate train again, but this is not what I want in a Pikmin game. You gave me a fucking side-scroller. I want another Pikmin game. I want Pikmin 4. This is like when you fucking gave me Metroid Federation Force instead of an actual proper Metroid, which thank God you've listened to and you're finally giving me one, Nintendo, but fuck, stop giving me bullshit games of your franchises. Give me the games in your franchises.
Okay, I guess that's enough of a preview for this shit. It's Pikmin, but in 2D, and it's a platformer, and you throw Pikmin by using the stylus.
And seriously, I don't hate everything.
Except for Hey Pikmin for 3DS. Also coming out this week is Fortnite for Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
Man, let me tell you what's fucked up about Fortnite.
Let's talk about Fortnite and how it's Epic Games. And those guys are popular. They make some cool shit that people like to talk about. It's a co-op sandbox survival game published by People Can Fly and Epic. Epic being those guys that made, like
Gears of War.
Gears of War and Unreal Tournament and some other shit that people probably played. And I actually really want to play this game.
It looks cool.
No, this game looks really fun from the trailers and the gameplay previews I've seen. It looks fun. It's actually going to be. It's a paid early access title now, but supposedly it's actually going to be full free to play next year. So it's been described to me, or to the internet rather, as Minecraft meets Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, from the streamers that were playing it, that sounds about right.
And yeah, it looks really fun. The terrain and maps are generated randomly. Players are given a variety of weapons: shotguns, pistols, sniper rifles, katanas, chainsaws, whatever. There's 4 different classes, and the classes all have abilities. So you can build walls with a constructor class. You can melee with a ninja. You can destroy environmental objects, and it just looks fun. It looks stupid and fun in co-op, and I want to play it.
Yeah, I remember seeing this way back in Comic-Con 2012, I think is when it first premiered. Back when Cliff Bleszinski was still with Epic Games. I could have sworn we fucking talked about this last week.
Fortnite?
Yeah.
It's possible. But let's talk about other stuff coming out this week.
Like, that story sounds familiar.
Whatever. Avon Colony's heading for Xbox One, PC, and PS4. It's a city-building sci-fi strategy game developed by Mothership Entertainment, but published by itch.io. It actually had a beta come out back in September. It's those things I said. It's a sci-fi city building game. So if you're into city building, if you're into management style games with a sci-fi twist, this would be something you should take a look at.
This is kind of like SimCity?
Sort of, yeah. You actually build a colony from scratch on an alien planet.
Or is this more like RimWorld?
I think it's, I guess kind of like City Skylines, Slim City, that style game.
Okay.
Except for you actually have to build like habitable bubbles and shit. It's 3D rendered. It's not a 2D game. Does that help?
Okay.
It actually looks decent. It's running on Unreal Engine. And yeah, if you're not into city management and city planning games, stay well clear of it. It's not going to be for you. Single player game, published by Team 17, all that other fun
Those
stuff.
are the Worms guys, right? It's Team 17?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Also coming out this week, Canadian Football 2017. That's right, everybody. You can buy a Canadian football video game.
What is the difference between Canadian football and American football? Because it's not soccer, is it? They would call it soccer.
No, Canadian football, it's a gridiron football series that's played in a Canadian fashion, so the fouls are much less frequent, and everybody apologizes immediately after. I don't know fuck about Canadian football, so let's talk about the fact that also Rugby League Live is coming out. Rugby League Live 4, I'm sorry. A big rugby fan, you want to play that? That's hitting PS4 or Steam, and I think Xbox? I'm not sure. I know it's hitting PS4 and Steam, though. Rugby League Live. It's a rugby game. You can play it. And you can play Canadian football. Sports fans, you got stuff to do. The season's not dead. You don't got to wait for the next EA game. You got other stuff that's happening. But, I mean, those are the things.
I want to mock it, but apparently Rugby League Live has had enough success to have 3 previous games in it.
Yeah, there's 4 of those fucking things. Canadian football, I don't know if they had a 2016, though. This might be a new thing. I don't remember talking about Canadian football 2016. So I think it's a brand new franchise. They're just trying to get.
That's an amazing marketing trick, though. If we just add the year to it, it makes it sound like we've been around for a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, it's just like the EA game, eh? Coming out every year in football. I don't know how to be a Canadian sounding dude. Maple syrup, Mounties, Tim Hortons.
Anyways, that does it for new releases this week. Pyre is amazing, gameplay issues aside. And Hey Pikmin, I would imagine, is probably another big one. With that, I think that wraps things up. This has been GamePoints episode 98. We do stream live here at Twitch TV/GamePoints every Monday night, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you can't catch us and join us then and join the chat like so many people has today, you can watch us over at YouTube. Just type in GamePoints, one word, we pop right up. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, and you want to email the show, you can do so at GamePointsPC@gmail.com. Regardless of where you happen to watch the show, like, subscribe, follow, comment, and all that good stuff. Hell, dislike, just as long as you give feedback, kind of gives us an idea of where to go with the show. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at GamePoints PC. You can follow us individually. I am Stephen Brown at CapitalistPig21. That is David Smith over there at PalShife_story. This has been GamePoints 98. Once again, thank you for watching, and we will catch you next week. But until then, we are out of here.
Don't pre-order.